all right, I'm really bored, and I figured this would be a fun little thing to do, mostly for my own sake and just chronicling my own tastes and how they evolve over time. So I thought I would just give a little ramble about my top 10 anime OPs. These are just of all time. I just went through all of my mal and picked out what I thought the 10 would be and then sorted them into a proper order. I think for those who actually know me well, this is going to be a surprising list because a lot of the shows that I talk about a lot and really like are not on here. Like Daydream Cafe is not on this list, and Connect is not on this list. Because I mean, look, this list itself is it is no correlation with the quality of the show itself for me. I'm just trying to analyze the OPs in my head as standalone things and like which ones are my favorite and which ones are not. So like despite how much I like Gochiusa and despite how much I like Madoka, those OPs don't break the top 10. In fact, they don't even break the top 15 because I do have 5 honorable mentions. This is totally unscripted. I'm just going off my head. And part of that, I think that for a favorites list, some people will like sit there and like analyze their favorites and be like, is this a favorite? Is this not a favorite? If something is really a favorite, you just know. Like you're just scrolling through a list of all your OPs and one of them comes up and it's like, oh yeah, that one was like my fucking favorite in the world. It shouldn't be something you have to think hard about. Somebody once told me that if somebody asks you what your favorite of something is, it's always the first thing that comes to mind. No matter how much you try to like reason it and analyze it and think of like, oh, well, what did I forget something? If it's popping into your head first, that's because it's your favorite. Even if you don't want to admit it to yourself. But it's fine. Embrace your favorites. Don't feel like your taste is trash because your favorite thing isn't necessarily like what the critical consensus says is good. You know what? This list I'm about to run down doesn't contain Tank or Cruel Angel's Thesis either. Because Cruel Angel's Thesis is fun as a karaoke song, but as an OP, I think it's kind of fucking boring. The structure is really repetitive, it's just a basic-ass pop song. And Tank, I like Tank, but it's not a song that I would really listen to a lot on my own. I think it's a cool OP, and I don't skip it when I watch the show, but, like, it doesn't fucking rock my socks. So anyway, enough pre-ramble. Let's just get into it. Here are my 5 honorable mentions. These are in no particular order. They're just the order I have them written down. These are not ranked. The first is Undine from Aria, the animation. I love that OP. I love the slow mellowness of it. I love how it really sets the mood. That's kind of one thing you're going to notice in common with this whole list is I really love OPs that just immediately set the tone of the show before it's even begun. You're just kind of in that headspace, and Undine is the perfect example of this. You get very calm and mellow, and like you know that you're in for a nice, comforting ride. After that, I have the OP Kimi ja Nakia Dame Mitai from Gekkan Shoujo Nozaki-kun. That's sort of the opposite of Undine, but fuck is it good. That OP is an absolute banger, just super fun to listen to. It bops really well. The visuals are cool. You have all the character walk animations that are in time with the song, and like you can't help at least tap your fingers along to the beat as you're listening to it. It's just such a fun tune, and I love that song. The next I have is Dimension Tripper from the NEP series. I don't even think the NEP anime is all that well done. It's fine fan service for fans of the games, but ultimately I think that Dimension Tripper is just such a standout opening. I mean, Dimension Tripper and Neptune Sagashite, both those songs are so fucking amazing. But Dimension Tripper still gets me incredibly hype when I listen to it. The visuals are cool of all the girls transforming into their goddess modes, and like the final chorus. I don't know if this is part of the OP, so maybe this is cheating a little bit, but the final chorus of the full version of the song where the singer, which I'm pretty sure is Nep Seiyu, sings like "Fortune favors the brave," and then let's like "Dimension Toripa," like holds the ah for a really long time. Like it's just super fucking hype, and it's a great song. Next, I have the Hoseki no Kuni OP or Land of the Lustrous OP, however you want to say it. I'm really into it. This is another one that like really sets the mood. I think it's a brave choice. The song itself is very unlike most anime OPs. It's very slow and methodical. The structure very gently ebbs and flows. It feels like the show. In the sense that like it's thematically appropriate, that it doesn't have a lot of sudden fits and starts. It doesn't have like bridges that are way different from the verse. It's just very much a mellow mood that ebbs and flows gently like waves. And I think it fits the show really well. I think the visuals are pretty interesting with the way you fly through a kaleidoscopic, multifaceted crystal view, and then like Foss pops in a view, and you can see a lot of the gems reacting to her as it goes. It's cool. I mean, the imagery with Cinnabar is great. It's a solid OP. And my last one, I couldn't decide which one I liked more, so I lumped both Rakugo OPs together. I think as I'm saying this out loud, I would give it to the second one a little bit, but the first one is great too. Whichever one, I think it's the first one that has the imagery of the goldfish splashing in the water. That one gets me every time. But the second one is just so painfully sad, and like the way Yakumo like throws himself off the cliff. God, every fucking time. Like Rakugo was such a ride of a show, and the OP was just as dramatic as the rest of it, and I love it dearly. The singing is great. I mean, it's Megumi Hayashibara. How can you go wrong? Like, it's out of this world. So anyway, I'll move on to my list of actual top 10s. Those were the 5 honorable mentions, each of them amazing in their own rights. I feel, as I go to leave on that, I feel like the Zetsubo Sensei trio should all be there too. It's just not really fair that they didn't get their fair shake, but they're all awesome. I love them all. Ringo is my favorite, but like I can respect any opinion of which of the 3 is better. Honestly, they're all so good that it just comes down to like subtle personal musical nuance and taste, but all 3 Zetsubo Sensei OPs are just, there's nothing bad about any of them. They knock it out of the park. But onto my actual top 10 list. So at number 10, I clock in Princess Tutu. Morning Grace is really moody. It really sets the tone for the show. Like, it's so melancholic, but also fairy tale. Like, it establishes in both the music and the visuals everything about the show. Like, the fact that it's a fairy tale setting, it's a waltz, so, it's got that dance class ballet thing going on. And it's like, there's just something about the gentleness of it that feels very sad, and like all of the imagery where none of the characters break out of the crystal ball, and like Drosselmeyer looms over them all, and like you've got Duck Ahiru looking very like forlorn the whole time. I love it dearly. I watched Princess Tutu the right way. I did it as a Christmas marathon where I just watched one episode a day through all of December. Never skipped the OP one time. Every episode I just had to watch it. Okay, clocking in at number 9, I've got High School of the Dead. This is mood whiplash from the last entry on this list. I mean, everything about High School of the Dead is emblematic of the show. It's a high-octane rock and roll thrill ride. It's got sex, tits, gore, and rock and roll, and that's all I want. That's all you want from High School of the Dead. High School of the Dead is the kind of show that promises you, right on the cover, hey, this is a show with ass, tits, and zombies, and you get ass, tits, and zombies. And it's fucking awesome. No punches are pulled. The color composition of this OP is really cool. The music is great. I love the way the riffs are. Kuzurata. I love that fucking chorus hook. Like, everything about it is great. That's another one that, that whole show is underrated because people just did not see past the fan service to dig into the meat underneath. Rest in peace to the writer. For those of you who don't know why that show stopped, it's because the writer passed away. And the artist was like, look, I can't just continue this without him. So that's why it never picked up again. But that OP is a fucking legend. And special shout out to the unedited first episode that aired on TV. The only way to see this anymore is to find the TV version that aired. It used a remix of In the House in a Heartbeat from 28 Days Later, which is one of my favorite film soundtracks. But they didn't have the rights to it, so when they put it out for home release, they had to remove that song and put something else in. But if you can track down a torrent of the original episode as it aired on TV, you'll hear a really, really cool remix of that song, and it's the only way to hear it. But anyway, yeah, that OP's great. On to number 8, the very recent entry that shot up in this list, High Score Girl. New Stranger is the name of the track. I fucking love everything about it. The chiptune guitar riff in the beginning is just really, really dynamic, grabs your attention right away. I love the visuals. I love the spinning arcade games. Everything about it, like the shots of Haruo looking at the school and he just sees arcade games in all of the windows. Like, that tells you a lot about his character right there. I love the part where he and Ono are spinning around and the singing becomes very staccato for a moment, and it's like da 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 da, and it's like very, punchy. That's awesome. That's another OP that I, despite Netflix's best intentions of trying to do so, I never skipped it once. Moving forward from there, clocking in at number 7, we've got Ass Class Season 2, OP Question. I love this OP a lot, because even though it's a very exciting rock song, it manages to be incredibly sad, and the visuals and the lyrics come together to create this, like, incredibly heart-wrenching picture of the situation that they're in and, like, Koro Sensei's life. And all the fact that all the students are singing together makes it even more sad, because the lyrics that they're singing are like, we never even tried to get to know you, like, how can we do this? It's a pretty heart-wrenching OP, and, like, you wouldn't realize it if you didn't pay attention to the lyrics and the visuals, because it sounds offhand like just a regular rock tune, but, like, it's so much more than that. The visuals at the end of Koro Sensei, like, flying through the class and everyone looks like a cardboard cutout, are also heart-wrenching, because, like, it's kind of telling you that, he and the class never really saw eye to eye, and it wasn't really fair. Like, he never got his fair shake. Like, despite their love for him, they never truly knew him. I mean, obviously that changes toward the end of the show, but, at that time, it was just this, like, you knew something sad was coming, and it did such a great job of getting you hyped for the action, because it was still an energetic, forward-moving piece, but it was also just depressing. I like a lot of sad music. If that's not coming through, I'm the weirdo who, like, goes on the internet and listens to, like, sad music. Like, I listen to, the fucking Bloodborne OST all the time. I listen to, like, some of the Nier Automata shit. I love sad music. Anyway, clocking in at number 6 is the OP to Shiki, Kuchizuke by Bucktick. I adore that OP. I love the song. It's just a fucking amazing song. Absolute fun time at karaoke. I love the visuals, the way that, like, all the zombies or vampires, like, spin around and their eyes glow red in the darkness, and there's this, like, very predatory look to them. Especially that shot at the end where there's a music box playing and blood is dripping on a skull in time with the gentle notes of the music box. Super cool way to end it. But just a great song. I think, like, 90% of the strength of that OP is the music, and then, like, some of it is the visuals, especially that ending shot. But, it's such an amazing tune for that show, and, like, it sets the tone of the vampires really well. At number 5, we've got the original Idolmaster OP. This is probably one that doesn't seem like an obvious choice, but there's a lot going on here. First of all, Ready is a great song. Super catchy, fun to sing. I'm a lady is, like, still a catchphrase that Idolmaster fans throw around a lot because it's just such a nice tune. It's an earworm. But the visuals of this OP are fucking amazing. The shot that is of them dancing on stage, all of it is hand-drawn idol choreography, super complex. You could spend 20 minutes talking about what makes this OP look so good. Canepa kind of already did that in his video about Megumi Kono, who was the animation director in charge of that bit. But, like, the way you can break it down frame by frame and see that, like, the characters are shot on 2s, but the stage is shot on 1s, which creates that cool spinning effect. The way Iori does this cool little hand twirl that looks super lifelike, and you've got Azusa's arm spinning around in this shot where she... What am I trying to say here? Like, the anatomical weight of her arm is realistic. Like, her arm isn't just spinning on an axis where, like, her elbow is staying perfectly still and her forearm is moving, which is something I feel that, like, lesser idol shows would have done. But no. You can see how the muscles and bones in her arm are moving. Like, you can repeat that action yourself and it would look exactly the same. And the fact that, like, each character has their own individual outfits on, the fact that each character's personality comes through in their animation, like the way, you know, you see this little anticipatory motion and then a little jump up from Hibiki. You know, I don't even know if I'm actually going to be editing the visuals in this, so if there's a black screen here and I'm just being a lazy fuck, just go watch the OP and, like, pay attention, do some frame-by-frame skips if you have to, but, like, just admire the absolute craftsmanship that goes into the Idolmaster OP. Frankly, the Idolmaster opening is probably one of the best openings of all time, just sheer animation-wise, just in terms of how well these characters move. It's unbelievable. You know, like I said, you can do a 20-minute analysis video on just this opening. Anyway, clocking in at number 4 is Pop Team Epic. I really adore this OP. I love how much liberty they've taken with the visuals. It's super imaginative. I mean, Pop Team Epic is the kind of show and OP that you either get it or you don't. You know, you either really, really like it or you think it's dog shit and you don't understand. It is a sort of esoteric, absurdist kind of OP, just like the show. I love how so many different styles are mixed in, and the song is just great. The song is legitimately great. It's really fun to listen to. It's really fun to dance to. They actually put it in the arcade game Dance Rush Stardom, and you can do, like, shuffle dancing to it, which is great. But yeah, I adore every second of the Pop Team Epic OP. It has something in there for everybody. It's just really cool. The smashing of the TV thing was great. Yeah, it's just a stellar opening theme to a show, whether you like the show or not. Number 3, I have Soro no Oto. Forgetting the name of it right now. Fuck, it's coming to me. Hikaru. Oh god, I don't know. I'm forgetting. Hikaru Nara keeps popping into my head, but I know that's not it. That's the Shigatsu OP. But anyway, you know what the Sora no Oto OP is. It's fucking amazing. Everything about it, the mood, the lyrics, the way they, like, have this very old, how do I put this, like, traditional dance kind of feel. I mean, the visuals help with that, given that they're lifted from paintings. I don't know if they're frescoes, but they're, like, actual paintings. You can go read about it online if you Google it. But, like, the creators of the OP intentionally decided to borrow imagery from some paintings to, like, convey the themes of the show. Like, I think if I recall correctly in interviews, it was something about, like, sacrificial angels, which fits very well. But I mean, the song itself is incredible. I would like tie this one very, very closely with Tabi no Tochu, which should have been on this list, but I forgot. But I guess I didn't remember it for a reason. But you know, I love Tabi no Tochu quite a bit. But if I had to compare the two, I would give this one the edge, just because the visuals, in my opinion, are a little stronger, and the song has this, like, very heart-wrenching climax to it that is, like, more sad, emotional. Like, I'd say that the climax of Tabi no Tochu is much more, like, of an emotional ballad, and this is, like, a sad outpouring of emotion. I guess it's hard to put my finger down, but that's my number 3. Number 2 is the motherfucking Nyaruko OPs. They are so good. Everything about them is great. You know, they're the kind of thing that, like, maybe they're not artsy very much. You know, they're not the kind of thing that, like, anime critics will sit around and discuss for 3 hours. But you know goddamn fucking well that anytime you hear one of those songs, you just get a smile across your face immediately. If I'm playing, like, a Japanese rhythm game and they have anime songs, and I see one of the Nyarko OPs on there, I hit that fucking button immediately. It is so great. If I had to pick one of the two, I would give it to Gay Horse and not Sons of Bitches. But both are amazing. Gay Horse earns it for me because of the one shot, the one shot where Nyarko is doing a walk cycle, and the camera like crawls up her body, and it's just like an incredibly smooth motion. And then as Nyarko like gets mad and pushes the camera away, we find out that it's been Kuko all along. I mean, just everything about that OP is fun. It's pure fun. It's so fucking fun that Norio Wakamoto went out of his way to sing it. He doesn't even do anything anymore. So, major props to that OP. Brings a smile to my face every single time. And finally, my number one OP of all time has been my number one OP of all time for over a decade, has been absolutely unsurpassed, and that is Higurashi no Nakukoro ni. This OP, in my opinion, is absolutely perfect. If you want to talk about OPs that set the mood for the show, this is the masterclass. It's so spooky, it's so dark, it's like full of mystery. The visuals are great of all the women like walking around and like looking at the camera very like mysteriously and mischievously. It just like, I mean, I'm a sucker for horror, and whether or not Higurashi actually delivered on that is a different story, but did the OP set up a spooky atmosphere? Abso-fucking-lutely. It did such a good job. Yeah, I don't know what to say about it any more than that. It's the perfect horror OP. I love the song, the way certain notes are held by the singer. I think Eiko Shimamura is her name. It's wonderful. Everything about it is wonderful. Probably not articulating this well. It's 2:00 in the fucking morning and I should be in bed, but I'm not. But hopefully, if you give a fuck, which you might not, that's fine. But, there's my tastes. You probably weren't expecting half of this list to be the way it was. Mainly because I don't give a shit about critical consensus. I like what I like, and that's all that matters to me. Kaguya is another great OP recently. Wouldn't make it on this list, but I like it a lot. I mean, there's some other ones. The JoJo OPs are all pretty good, so on and so forth. But anyway, there's my top 10, and there's my honorable mentions. Let me know what you think. I'm curious to see which of these OPs you like or don't like or whatever.